Top 10 Manhwa or Manhua with overpowered and badass MCs. Welcome to our countdown of the top 10 Manhwa or Manhua with the most badass and overpowered main characters. If you are a fan of the fantasy genre and love seeing protagonists who can wipe the floor with their enemies, you are in for a real treat. These are the manhwas that feature protagonists who are absolute powerhouses, whether it's true reincarnation, sheer martial arts prowess, or just straight up dark magic. We are talking heroes who can make even the toughest villains shake in their boots. So sit back, grab a popcorn, and get ready to meet some of the most legendary main characters in the world of manhwa. So now, let's dive in. Alright, let's kick things off with our 10 picks of the most badass MCs manhwas. I rob the storehouse of the god. Humanity is on the brink of extinction after a great war of gods and demons, but our lone survivor, Jeong Si-woon, isn't about to let the world go down without a fight. He stumbles upon a game-changing discovery, the Demon's Vault, which houses the Hourglass of Chronos, a relic that can turn back time. Armed with the power to rewind the clock, Si-woon is determined to go back, stop the war, and ascend the tower to fend off the outer invaders once and for all. And let me tell you, he is not messing around. He has grabbed some serious powers from that demon's vault and he's ready to put them to use. From the early chapters, the world building and art in this manhwa are just top notch. The action is intense, the characters are engaging, and the overall plot is super compelling. If you are a fan of OP protagonist going on wild adventures, I Rob the Storehouse of the God is definitely worth checking out. Sure, it might not be the groundbreaking story in this genre, but sometimes you just want to dive into a fun, fast-paced read, you know. And this manhwa delivers that in spades. Time to see what kind of chaos Si-woon can create with his time-traveling powers. Alright, let's check out our 9 picks for the most badass MC manhwas. Supreme Zerg Lord, the Catastroph. 300 years ago, the world got overrun by these crazy monster rifts, and the only ones who could fight them off were these special class changers, people with combat support or life-based powers. And out of all the class changers, the rarest and most powerful ones are the divine class changers, who only shows up once in a century. So when Chen Jiang awakens as the first divine class changer in a long time, everyone's got their eyes glued on him. He ends up awakening as a life type, the most unpopular class. Oops, but you know what they say, don't judge a book by its cover. Because for some reason, Chen Jiang seems pretty darn content with his life-type powers. I have a feeling he's got a few tricks up his sleeves that'll blow everyone's mind. From the early chapters, the world building in this manhwa is super solid and the character designs are just plain cool. Plus, the overall tone strikes a great balance between high-stakes action and tongue-in-cheek humor. If you are in the mood for an OP protagonist who marches to the beat of his own drum, Supreme Zerg Lord the Catastroph is definitely worth a look. Alright, let's dive into our 8 picks for the most badass MC manhwas. Return of the Sword God rank Civil Servant. An Soo-ho, the greatest swordsman player in the world. But here is the kicker, he is actually just a humble civil servant working for the Korean Hunter Association, and he only chose the path to try and shut down these dangerous gates that keep popping up. But when one of the biggest disaster level gates gets attacked, Soo-ho gets betrayed by his own comrades. Turns out, they didn't want the gates closed because it would mean the end of their influence. Talk about a bummer, right? Just as Soo-ho is about to bite the bullet, the system steps in and gives him a second chance, a chance to go back in time and set things right. Now, this sword guard has got a whole new lease on life, and you better believe he's gonna use those insane swordplay skills to really shake things up. From the early chapters, the world building in this manhwa is super intriguing, and the action sequences are just plain jaw-dropping. Plus, the whole civil servant turned badass swordsman angle is just a delightfully fun twist. If you are craving an OP protagonist who's got brains and brawn, Return of the Sword God rank Civil Servant is definitely worth checking out. Alright, let's take a look at our 7 picks for the most badass MC manhwas. Demon God of Apocalyptic Behemoth. Now, this one is all about Chen Cho, a guy who's been quietly growing in power, and let me tell you, he's reached god and demon levels of strength. When a total apocalypse breaks out, wiping out cities and spilling blood all over the place, this dude steps up to the plate in a big way. And he's not alone. He's got a colossal of black beast by his side, standing over 10,000 meters tall. Think Godzilla, but even more terrifying and massive. With this unstoppable duo on the scene, you know things are about to get wild. From the early chapters, the world building in this manhwa is just insane. The scale of destruction is off the charts, and the action sequences are pure eye candy. Plus, Chenchu's slowly unraveling backstory has got me hooked. I can't wait to see how he become this insanely powerful demon god. If you are in the mood for an OP protagonist who can summon kaiju-sized monsters to wreck everything in sight, Demon God of Apocalyptic Behemoth is an absolute must-read. This manhwa has got it all: epic battles, jaw-dropping visuals, and a protagonist who is not afraid to get his hands dirty. Strap in, folks, cause the end of the world has never looked so good. Alright, let's dive into our 6 picks for the most badass MC manhwas. The Heavenly Demon Lord who doesn't want to level up. Goryeo Prince Jin Yuxiong, a total martial arts hero. But after losing his comrades, he's feeling pretty lonely. So he decides to take a little trip through a magical palace gate for a fresh start. And where does he end up? Modern day Seoul, of course. Now, Yuxiong's got this whole fighter past he's trying to leave behind. But when a gate break incident has him stepping up as an unexpected hero, the SafeGate organization takes notice. They are all about recruiting people with his skills, but our prince isn't having it, so he disguises himself as the high school nephew of an old comrade. But let me tell you, this Heavenly Demon Lord is no slouch. Even if he doesn't want to level up, he's still packing some seriously impressive martial arts moves. And the best part, he's just trying to live a quiet life, but trouble has a way of finding him. From the early chapters, the art in this manhwa is absolutely gorgeous, and the fish out of a water dynamic between Yuxiong and the modern world is pure comedy gold. If you are in the mood for an OP protagonist who just wants to chill but keeps getting swept up in epic battles, the Heavenly Demon Lord who doesn't want to level up is definitely worth checking out. Alright, let's check out our 5 picks for the most badass MC manhwas. The martial god who regressed back to level 2. Turns out, Earth got completely obliterated in this whole BattleNet system, and humanity is on the brink of extinction. But our main man, Jihan Seong, gets a second chance. He has been sent back in time 3 years before this whole BattleNet disaster went down. And get this, Jihan is no slouch. He is a total martial arts god, but when he gets sent back, he's regressed all the way down to level 2. Ouch. Now, he's got to grind his way back up to the top, using all his future knowledge to become the strongest player around. The stakes are high though. Jihan is determined to change the fate of humanity and protect the ones he loves. But there are so many shady characters out there who don't want him to succeed. It's gonna take everything. He's got to claw his way to the top and save the world. From the early chapters, the action in this manhwa is intense and the world building is super intriguing. Plus, Jihan is a total badass, even when he's starting from square one. If you are in the mood for an OP protagonist who has got to fight his way back to the top, the martial god who regressed back to level 2 is definitely worth a look. Alright, let's take a look at our 4 picks for the most badass MC manhwas. The Nin King who returned with a god. Our main man here has been busy hunting demons in the other world for a full 300 years, but when he finally comes back to Earth, he's not alone. He's brought a god with him. Talk about making an entrance, am I right? The story might not be the original. We are looking at a typical modern world with monster-filled gates popping up, but this manhwa really shines when it comes to the main character and his interactions with the world around him. This dude is a straight-up Nin King, and he doesn't hold back when it comes to his religious beliefs or his legendary battle skills. The art is super clean and dynamic, and the comedy hits the mark more often than not. Plus, the way the MC is larger-than-life personality clashes with the modern setting is just pure gold. If you are in the mood for an OP protagonist who's like a medieval knight trapped in the 21st century, the Nin King who returned with a god is definitely worth a read. Alright, let's dive into our 3 picks for the most badass MC manhwas. Reincarnated as a genius prodigy of a prestigious family, our main man here was a total battlefield legend in this past life, but before he could reach his full potential, he bit the big one. But when he opens his eyes again, guess what? He's been reborn as the youngest son of a big shot count. The crazy part? His talent isn't just limited to 1 or 2 areas. This guy's got skills in spearmanship, assassination, magic, summoning, and even swordsmanship. Basically, he's living a cheat code, and he's ready to unleash all that talent in the loving embrace of the happy family he never had before. Just imagine the hilarity that ensues as his family tries to figure out which skills he should focus on: spearmanship, stealth and assassination, Magic? Summoning? They are all over the place, but one thing is for sure, this kid has got a bright future ahead of him. From early chapters, the world building is super solid, the characters are a riot, and the action sequences are top notch. If you are in the mood for an OP protagonist who's been reborn into a life of a luxury and endless talent, reincarnated as a genius prodigy of a prestigious family is definitely worth checking out. Alright, let's dive into our number 2 pick for the most badass mirror manhwa, the Executioner. You see, our main man Gang Yu is part of a team of heroes, but he's never understood why they refuse to kill even the worst villains. That is, until the villain who wiped out his squad kills his own brother in prison. Gang Yu's had enough. He breaks his own vows and takes on a new role as the prison's executioner, with permission to do what needs to be done. Now, he's gotta fight his way through all the villains in Rukulas to get to the one who took everything from him. The art is downright gorgeous and the action sequences are intense, but what really stands out is Gang Yu's struggles between his heroic ideals and his desire for vengeance. It's a heavy theme, but the manhwa handles it with a steady hand. So if you are in the mood for an OP protagonist who is willing to get his hands dirty to take down the worst of the worst, the Executioner is definitely worth a look. Alright, let's dive into our number 1 pick for the most badass MC manhwas, Legend of the Reincarnated Demon God. Meet our main man, Eon Onhui, the junior heavenly demon. He might not have been born with a Dantian, but through some dark magic and his preternatural ability, he became the top dog of the heavenly demon cult. This dude has got a rap sheet a mile long. Great sorcerer of the dark arts, king of the wandering lost souls, and the best one, if he smiles, run as fast as you can. His smile is a death sentence. But just when Unhui is living it up, the rug gets pulled out from under him. The cult elder stays a cope, and Unhui is forced to self-destruct using an ancient relic. But when he opens his eyes again, he is in for the surprise of a lifetime. He has been reborn as Tang Unhui, an illegitimate son of the Sichuan Tang clan. So now, this reincarnated demon god is got a new mission: rebuild his heavenly demon cult, find his old master, and take back what's his. It's gonna be one wild ride, that's for sure. From the early chapters, the world building is incredible, the characters are unforgettable, and the action is off the charts. If you're in the mood for an OP protagonist who's got a dark past and an even dark future, Legend of the Reincarnated Demon God is definitely worth checking out. Whew, what a lineup, am I right? From reincarnated demon lords to martial arts prodigies, this list has it all. So if you are craving for some seriously badass protagonists, be sure to check out these must-read manhwas. Thanks for joining us today, folks. If you enjoyed this video, want to see more great manhwa or manhwa content, hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. We'll be back soon with even more top-tier recommendations. Until next time, happy reading, stay awesome, and I will catch you guys later.